Hello, welcome to another edition of editing photos in Lightroom Mobile on your mobile device, your phone or your tablet. Today I wanted to share with you some tips, ways to edit color. Color is so powerful in our photos because we have an emotional connection to color. Think of movies, how they'll use color to enhance the mood. They'll use the cooler colors for maybe quieter or sadder scenes, and the more warm colors for more intense and active and energetic scenes. So I want to show you some of the controls in the Lightroom Mobile to help you do those kind of things, to add that emotional content to your photo. So here we go. We're gonna hop into Lightroom Mobile here real quick, and we're gonna work on this photo of this old Cadillac. So the first thing I do when I look at a photo like this, or any photo, is my suggestion is to always have a plan. To have an idea of where you want to go with the photo. Don't just start tapping, clicking, moving things around. I mean, you can do that, and that's fun to experiment, but once you've done this a little while, what'll happen is you'll come up with strategies. And my strategy is, first I want to fix some of the basic stuff. So I'll do a quick walkthrough of the basic panel. I want to enhance the contrast. It was a cloudy day, so there's not a lot of contrast. I want to make the colors a little richer. I just want to add some drama to this. And then what I want to use in color is to really accentuate those tail lights. Those are the star of the show. This is an old Cadillac. I don't remember the year. Late 50s, early 60s. And I believe they only made the tail lights like this way for 1 year. So they're pretty special. So I want to bring attention to those. So let's start with the basic edits. We'll go into light first. First thing I'm going to do here, as I mentioned, is contrast. Contrast is good for adding some drama, some intensity to your colors, as well as to the exposure itself. Highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. What I want to do there, I'll probably, in the name of contrast, turn the blacks down just a little bit. That's also going to make the colors a little richer. And then let's see, what do we want to do with whites and shadows? So whites and shadows, whites and highlights, excuse me. I'll probably pull both of those to the brighter side. Shadows for now, I'm going to leave alone. Exposure, I'm going to leave alone as well for now. Effects, I want to go quickly and take care of texture, clarity, dehaze, and add some of those. Each of those to the mid-20s in this photo. For me, it's a good mix of adding some sharpness, punch, and drama to this. It makes the car shinier, makes those taillights richer, makes all the colors and everything I want to have more impact. Again, here's where we started. If I'm doing a long press on the photo, and it's kind of muted, not as dramatic, and here it's got some more punch. My experience, when you add texture, clarity, dehaze, it tends to make your image a little darker, so I'm going to go back to the light and add just a little bit of exposure, right around plus 0.3 or so. All right, so we're in good shape there. So let's talk about color. So color can be used to do a couple things here in Lightroom, and they're both really helpful. The first is, as I mentioned, the emotional part of things. And I'm going to do a little less with this one and more with that in the next control I'm going to show you, which is split toning in the next video. But first, let's talk about how we can shape attention. We can shape what your eyes see first and stay with using color. And the way I'm going to do that is through the color itself, the richness of the color, and the brightness of the different colors. So those are called hue, saturation, and luminance, HSL. And they're in the color tab in Lightroom Mobile. So if you tap on color, and then they're at the top near the right-hand side of the controls, right where it says mix. So you tap on that circle rainbow thing, and it'll bring up the mixer, the color mixer. Each of the 8 colors here, so there's red, orange, yellow, green, aqua blue, purple, and magenta. Each of those 8 colors has 3 controls with it. Hue, which is basically think of crayons. You can shift a crayon, you can pick the one you have or the one on either side of it, or in this case, anything in between. So you can shift the color a little bit. The saturation is the richness of the color, from a neon sign, extra glow, to take all the color out of that color. And then the luminance is the exposure of that color. So I'm going to use especially the hue in this example as kind of a special effect. And one of the things to be aware of with hue is I can only shift a color to its neighbor. So by that I mean I can take the red and go to a pink red or an orange red, but I can't take red and make it blue. So be aware of that. Also, all of these effects, these changes, HSL, are global, which means anything that is red that I'm changing will change in the image. I'm going to show you first hue. It's the most dramatic in some ways, most fun to play with. So what I'm going to do to start this off is I'm going to use, there's a little bullseye between the word color mix and done at the top of the colors. And I'm going to tap on that. And what that does is takes me into a targeted mode where I can, wherever I tap and adjust, it will make changes. What this does is put me into a mode where you're making changes. Right now it's underlining hue. So I'm going to start there. So I'm going to tap on the blue part of the car in the top left area. I'm going to tap there and I'm going to pull down to go one direction with the color. Ooh, green car. Push up to go the other direction with the color. And you can see it's moving the aqua and the blue. It's moving both of them. It's primarily moving the blue in one direction, and then the aqua kind of catches up. So it's a richer way to make this color change. So this is a color change that's kind of fun. It's just, and if you, again, if this is global, so if there was a blue sky in the image, the sky would change too, and then you'd have a purple sky or a green sky, which most of the times you don't want. But it works in this photo because there's no sky. Let's see, we'll go to a kind of a purplish color on the car. So we're just nudging it in a different direction. You can do this either purely creatively, just for fun, or you can do it because the white balance on your photo was a little off, or you just want to nudge the color a little either direction from what it already is. So I'm going to use it creatively. For this, in this photo, all I'm going to do for hue is just use it creatively on the car. I'm going to switch over to saturation now. And here's what I want to do with saturation. I'm going to do a couple things. Again, now I'm going to use this for shaping attention, drawing attention to what I want people to see. So first, I'm going to use it on the taillights. I want the taillights to have a little more punch to them. So I'm going to tap on the taillights with my target tool. And if I pull up, the richness of those colors, which is magenta and a red, will get more rich. If I pull down, it's gray. So I'm going to push that up and just nudge that a little bit towards extra saturation. Maybe a clear example would be to show you on the back of the car, the colored part of the car. So I'm going to tap there. If I pull down, now I have a silver car. If I push up, I have a very intense colored car. I'm going to go just a little on the intense side, so add a little saturation to the color of the car because it's free, why not? So again, shaping attention. I really, really, really want people to see those taillights. And one thing that's drawing attention a little bit in this image is all the colors are equal intensity. Those trees in the background that are blurring out of focus, those green, yellow trees, they're also calling your attention because they're rich in color. So I want to decrease the saturation of those just a little bit. So I'm going to tap in the tree, and pull down to decrease the saturation. And I don't want to go to black and white. That's too much, but I do want to pull most of the color out, or a good chunk of it. Let's see, the yellow's at about -55 and the green's at about -30. So I just turned down the volume of the color in those trees back there. And by default, because there's more contrast of color now, those taillights really pop out. Let's do one more thing here with the luminance now. Let me just demo it, how it works on the back of the car, the side of the car, excuse me. So I'm going to tap on the part of the car where I've been tapping the whole time. And let's change the exposure there. So you can see it's going to be moving the aqua and the blue. So if I pull down, it'll get darker. Push up, it'll get brighter. So which way do I want to go? Maybe just a little brighter. A little brighter so those taillights have a little bit of visual space and being just a tiny bit darker. But actually I'm going to tap on them and make them just a little bit brighter. There we go. There's no science here, it's just an eyeball thing. And then last but not least, again for attention, those trees in the background are a little bright, so I want to pull their brightness down, turn down the volume of brightness. So I'm going to tap in the trees and pull down just a little bit. So I've darkened the trees, pulled the color out of the trees, a little bit of the color, increased the brightness of the taillights, and increased the saturation of the color in the taillights. So all of that is pulling attention from just the whole scene. Now really, hopefully you're seeing those taillights as the first and most important thing in this image. So let's see where we started. Boom, there we go. Oh, no, sorry, you can't do that. When I'm in the targeted mode, wherever I tap, it's gonna create the target. So I have to turn the target off. And now I just do a long tap on the screen, and that shows me before. That's where we started with the muted colors. And then if I go here, now it's richer, more impactful, and that's the look I was hoping for in this photo. And that's the desire in all of these edits, is to help give you tools to take your photos where you want them to go, to help your audience see the image, hopefully, as the way you intended as you took the photo, the way it had felt to you, and all that, so you can shape that with color here in HSL in Lightroom Mobile. So the next video, we're going to add some more layers of emotion through color using the split toning panel. So join me in that video. I'll see you there. Until then, stay well, stay home, and wash your hands.